Cheers folks and welcome to my channel. It's Alliance Wars 8 and 9 in this one video, and I will shortly explain why. In Season 7 in Alliance War season of Marvel Contest of Champions, and we were facing in Alliance War number 8 the Alliance Outer 7th Circle, a Platinum 2 Alliance, so again, from a matchmaking perspective, rather uneven from Kabam's perspective, but again, we're not in charge of matchmaking. That's Kabam Systems, and as long as they allow us to meet Platinum 2 Alliances, these things can happen. And again, I say Kabam has to fix that for the coming seasons. Still, there's been no fights from my side, so I can't show you anything from that war, which is why I didn't do a separate video of this. But I just want to give you short information. We won this war, and this has been our streak number 8, meaning that after 8 wars, we were unbeaten still. But the more important war, or the more interesting war, is now war number 9. And war number 9, I also had my usual fights and my path. And this war was against Shield. And Shield is a very solid Master Alliance. They are within top 10 in the leaderboard. So very strong, had a very, very successful season so far. And again, we had a couple of tough matchups this season, some very strong alliances that we were facing. And as with all those other alliances, it's the same. We have to win this war. We have to make sure that we do not lose a single war. And then actually, we are at a very good track defending our number 1 position. We currently have the number 1 position. And there's only 2 alliances, us and 1 other alliance, that are unbeaten so far. So top 3 is looking really good, but right now we are at a very, very good position to maybe even end the season on the top spot. So again, every death counts, every victory counts for us in this season. And I myself was on a bit different path than usual. It was path 3, 2, 1, a little bit of mixture of all 3 paths. And my team for that war was Blade with Dormammu. Partly for the synergy, partly also I used Dormammu for other fights, which we will see later. And also Emma Frost. I wanted to have a alternative for the poison note number 25, but also there was a skill champion on Bane, which I thought would be good to use Emma Frost for. And so I started on the left hand side. I did not start on my usual path 1 all to the left, but a bit like starting through the middle, and then actually from the middle switching to the right hand side of the left path, and that is actually path number 3. And going to note number 21, and note number 21 has 250% extra attack, 150% extra health, and is a note with enhanced bleed and bloodletting. So bleed abilities are more effective and also last longer. And in general, on this note, all debuff effects have an increased length of 100%, and also abilities trigger with a higher probability. And a 6-star duplicate champion on that note, and a mystic champion, and that's why also it was perfect for me to bring Dormammu with Blade, because Dormammu gives that danger sense synergy for all mystic champions, and in this case it's Lady Thor. It's not a villain, so Ghost Rider wouldn't have helped giving danger sense against her, but with Dormammu, danger sense is on. And what I'm trying is just not even trying to let her get to her special 1. I just let her just below 1 bar of power, and then myself with my bleeds managed myself to get my special 2 before she can fire off her special 1, and then she's already down. She was also placed with maximum suicides, as you could see, so that actually helped. But if she is able to inflict a shock debuff on that note, it's quite nasty. And then moving on to note number 20, and note number 20 is power leak and power drain. So special attacks can power drain you, and also it has this aggression precision note, meaning that every 2 seconds the opponent gains a precision buff. and you do not gain more power than your special 1. So after 1 bar of power, you are power locked, basically. And another Mystic Champion, so again, went in there with Blade. And also this, Dr. Voodoo is not a villain, so also here it helped for me to bring Dormammu with the synergy. And then you just have to make sure that you don't let him get too many of those precision buffs. Be a little bit aggressive, evade his special 1, and then he's already down. Danger Sense really does a lot of extra damage, and also here you saw the suicides were on. That helped again. So my recommendation, if you place defense and you don't have nodes like cornered that you place your defense on, in that case, other cases than suicides is actually not very helpful, or it makes fights easier for your opponents. And then I was moving on to the poison node number 25. So again, inflicting poison, draining 100% health over 60 seconds. Also, poison abilities being more effective. It has 250% more attack and 150% more health. And also Plagued Mind, meaning that your power is drained every 25 seconds. And you see the persistent charge there with a 0 inside. That means it's a Morning Star. If there was a 3 in there, it would be a Mephisto, but a 0 is a Morning Star, a 6-star duplicate Morning Star. Means she does inflict bleed also, so it's good that I brought Dormammu because he's not only poison immune but also bleed immune. And I always fight these fights as power control fights. I know, and I have a lot of your comments already on this, that you can start with a heavy attack and then build those 100 charges and then do a heavy attack again. But because this node has this power drain every 25 seconds, I want to make sure that I get to my special 2 before I'm being power drained. And also, with that special 2, actually be able to power burn Morningstar. So as you can see, she has no energy. She doesn't get a single bar of power during the entire fight. So I totally prevent her from using any special. And that's how that's my strategy of fighting this node. Again, I know that I can inflict more damage if I use my heavy, but I prefer to fight on this node with more of a power control strategy. And for me, it works. Eventually, she's down and also didn't take too much of health of Dormammu, just some hits in the block. And then I was already done for the evening and then was continuing basically next morning. And you can see the next node is waiting, and it's node number 46. And I was about to basically do the rest of my path, so I was boosting big now all the way till the end. And the champion on node 46, a cosmic champion, also I checked with Scouter Lens. And I really recommend to all of you to use the Scouter Lens tool, or the Scouter Lens bot in line. We can tell you exactly what champ is right in front of you. Because this told me that the next champ for me was a Hyperion. And a Hyperion on a power gain node, and you will see in a second that it is a power gain node, can always be very, very tricky. So on this node number 46, power gain is 100%. And also Optimist and Outlast and champion boosts are 175% extra attack and health. Because of that power gain, even if you use Dormammu, even if you power drain him, still you need him to fire off his specials every now and then. And sometimes Hyperion is a bitch, and he just doesn't throw off his specials the way you would like him to. And even if you do the strategy of 2 medium attacks, you see it still doesn't prevent him from gaining power to the level that he can throw some specials. So you do rely a little bit on the fact that he does throw his specials every now and then. Until you finally get to your special 2 with Dormammu and are able to power lock him for a while. So, you have to play it a bit safe and, let him fire off his specials and hope that he does fire off his specials every once in a while. Still, I took the invulnerability boost because you can never be 100% sure with Hyperion, and he's a bitch right now, so he doesn't fire off his special. There he does it. And now I'm trying to power drain him again. And in the end, I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. The whole fight was taking a little bit too long for my taste. So I let him. I got him to his special 3. I let him fire off his special 3 because I had my invulnerability boost. And you know, that's always the safest option. You can actually take and eat 3 special 3 like that. It's a safe version against champions like Dormammu, like Hyperion, and I like to take the option. And as I took the option, I also had no problem actually getting him to his special 3 and letting him fire off his special 3 because I knew he would not do any damage to me. So it's a valid tactic that you can run on that note if you know that it's a Hyperion. Again, Scouter Lens for all of you guys. And then moving on to note number 49, and note number 49 is a special 1 note. So special 1 is unblockable, deals 30% more damage, and also is a special 1 bias. So a 6-star undupe cosmic champion usually is either Proxima Midnight or a Black Bolt. And it turned out to be a Black Bolt. So just be careful to evade his special 1. I personally find his special 1 is easy to evade, but you have to be prepared. So what I always do is I do a 4 combo when they are getting above 1 bar of power, or I use my special before they're getting above 1 bar of power, and then I just let them fire off their special 1, which then is easy to evade, and eventually get him down with the damage from special 2, etc. And then moving on to note number 50. And also here I checked with Scouter Lens to make sure it's not a rank 5 cork, because that I would probably let to my fellow teammate who had a domino. But on this note, which is the typical Bane note and also has plus 400% health, plus 200% attack. So Bane, every 10 seconds, the Bane timer runs out, and after those 10 seconds you would get a degeneration on yourself unless you hit your opponent after the end of the timer. And with the Scouter Lens I found out that this opponent is going to be a Blade, a rank 5 Blade, and that is perfectly fine with Emma Frost. What I do is during the first Bane timer, which you see there, I try to not get my opponent above the 1 bar of power, so that I can actually activate the second Bane timer before I'm relying on the fact that I need him to fire off his special. It's always a bit tricky if you are dancing around and need him to fire off his special. It's easier to actually counter the Bane timer when your opponent still has not 1 bar of power, and you can then use the time, as I do right here, to use your attack combo to bridge just that time when the timer would turn to you. Also with Blade, I always try to keep him low on power, always let him fire off his special 1, because the higher or the more power he has, the more likely he is to become stun immune, basically parry stun immune. And then you have to do what I do here. You have to let him hit your block, you evade his heavy, and then you counter him like this. That's otherwise you risk that he parry stuns you when you attempt to block him. And then in the end, I fired off my special 1, which always inflicts this power sting. And then when he actually had a special 2 ready, and he wanted to fire off a special 2, he got hit by the power sting, and that in the end killed him. And that was already my path. That was my path for this war. The mini boss and boss was taken by my fellow teammates. But also here I can say that we won this war. We won war number 9. Quite solid. And like this, it means that we are now still 1 week away from the finale, and 1 week away still being unbeaten. And if it stays like that, it will most probably mean that we would end the season on the top 1 spot. So that's what we're going for, that's what we hope for, and 3 more wars to come. So I hope that we can keep up this great performance until end of the season. And as usual, if you found this video helpful, useful, then feel free to give it a like. If you are new to the channel and would like to see more videos like this in the future, feel free to hit the subscribe button. And I hope to see all of you very, very, very soon on my channel. Cheers, folks.